Hello everybody and welcome to the next Grand Prix of this F1 2017 season, and we are in race number 3, which is the Bahrain Grand Prix. Starting in session number 1 in the practice 1. This is the track acclimatization program we are running now here, and I thought I'd leave it in completely this time to explain a few things, because this will be a quite interesting episode because it happened so much in the race. So it will be a quite hectic commentary within the race, because I just need to explain so many things, because so many things happened during the race, and I wanted to take the time now to explain you a few other things about the series and about F1 and about, in general, my driving and kind of stuff like that. So let's start right ahead. You can see in the background I am going for the simple program. I'm not hitting every apex here and there. This is basically because I just jumped in and right off started with this session without even being practicing before on this track, but still I'm feeling way more comfortable in the car now and in general in the game, so I can just jump into the game and I don't spin out all the time. I can drive as long as I want without being too bad, so to say. And I also, got used to shifting and all this kind of stuff. And you may already see that I will let some others pass me while during this test. This is basically, I am driving on my very old engine from the first 2 races. I don't know why. I have been researching in the research tree how's it called, the wear kind of improvement, so that you don't have that much wear on your components. But that said, after 2 races, my engine is already completely gone, which is all the components are already above 80%, which effectively means we are losing about 2 seconds a lap just by the power of the engine, because everything, the DMGOK, DMGOH, and also the turbocharger and also the gear, everything is just worn out and pretty bad. This is also, if you are familiar with the times in Bahrain, you can see that I'm really bad in terms of lap times at the moment. But as this program is nothing about lap times, it's just about hitting the apex correctly and on a good speed, this is not the biggest of a problem. Another thing I just wanted to mention is this turn over here. You will see me struggling the whole weekend. I don't know why. I barely even managed to hit it every 3rd lap, so to say. So let's say 60% of the time I was missing the apex on this one. It is generally the hardest turn I've found so far in the game. I don't know why. Maybe I'm alone with this kind of opinion. But even the next one, the left-hander over here, which is considered as one of the most complicated turns in F1 in general, and I am struggling still, but it is not as bad as I believe it's turn 3 on this course. But anyways, just wanted to quickly give you some information on that. So we will see each other then in the next part of this weekend, and I'll leave you alone with the rest of this few laps.
This is the last lap of the program.
So here we are in the next practice session, and I am doing a quick qualifying test, and I will keep that in, so to just show you the lap time I'm doing, but just mentioning quickly, just watch the times I'm able to do in this little footage you will see in the next 2 minutes, and then we'll see each other in the next training session, and I'm gonna explain something more about that. So enjoy these 2 laps.
Is available again, but there is a chance the issue will reoccur. Let's try to find a bit more.
So here we are now in practice number 3, and you have seen that I wasn't even close to be able to run the lap time which was given me in the last practice session, and now we are in practice session number 3, and you can see on the right hand side the delta isn't as bad as it was a minute ago in this video, at least. As I said way before, I am still struggling with this turn 3 over here. But apart from that, you can see how the delta is going into the better direction, I should say, so into being a lot better lap time now in comparison to the lap before. And maybe you can see from the driving that the driving is even worse than it was before, but I have now a completely new and fresh engine under my belt. So this is why this lap time will be pretty easily done. And so we can already jump, yeah, at least in terms of commentary, to the next part, but I'll leave you with the rest of this lap. So here we are already in qualifying section number 1, and I'm trying to do my best lap time on the soft compound tire to be able to, you know, just save some super soft tires for the next qualifying session. But then again, I spun out because I was braking on the curb, which is not the best idea. It was clearly my little mistake over there. So yeah, I needed to go on to super soft, and this is what you can see right now. Being on super soft tires, I was able to go into the next lap, into the next part of the qualifying, and this is where we hear each other again. I'll leave you alone with this lovely lap of mine with the super soft tires. So see you in a while.
P6, that lap puts you into P6.
And here we are already in the next part, which is then, I believe it is qualifying number 2. And yeah, now we are hitting a point, and I said this will be a quite interesting episode in that kind of sense that I'm going to explain a few things. And one thing I'm really annoyed with, and we will see this again in a later stage, I believe, is the behavior of the AI within qualifying. You can see in front of me, this is Mr. Stroll, and I am on my hot lap, and he just came out of the box. Or the pit, I should say. And as you can see, he is moving slower and slower and slower. But instead of just leaving me the space to go through, he is blocking me. And yeah, it is really unfortunate because you can see I just skipped to the next lap because he was completely blocking me, and there was just no chance at all to do a good lap time. As you can see, it was 134.6 with this, which is, you know, it's really bad. It wouldn't have been enough to be in qualifying session number 3, which is then the shootout. And as you can see, and I'm quickly leaving that in until I leave you alone with the rest of the lap, but you can see this is basically the part of the track where I was just following Mr. Stroll. And before I then cut out the footage, he was blocking me into the tight left-hander. But you can see the delta is quite similar to what we had before. I just had a very good exit of this turn over here, which then gave me a little bit better delta. But now just watch what happens now after this one. So we are going with a huge lockup into this corner over here, and then accelerating out of this corner we have by 1.5 seconds nearly a positive delta, which effectively was just because of Mr. Stroll. He was completely blocking us into this left-hander, and I have no idea why the hell they are doing this. In practice sessions they are just moving out of the way as they are supposed to do, but then again in qualifying they always block me like hell. So let's see what's happening in Q3, because this lap will be enough to go to qualifying number 3. And there we are already in qualifying number 3. As I said, I did a very good lap in qualifying session number 2, which I believe was a 132.6, something like that. And I wanted to go onto the track and just do the same lap time again. And I think I was really confident that I can do this. But yeah, I already told you about Mr. Stroll. And the thing about Mr. Stroll is that he blocked me, and this lap I am doing over here, you can see it is a 133.0, is again a lap which has been destroyed by somebody else, and this is Mr. Ricardo, which you can see on the minimap. He's just behind me. He blocked me into this very corner over here, having a little bit of a slide out of turn 2, going then to turn number 3, and I told you I had a lot of struggle within this weekend, but then again in qualifying 3, there where it counts, I just managed to take this corner over here perfectly. And now I'll leave you alone with the rest of the lap, because it was just a very nice and fluid lap, which I believe is some of the best ones I did in this game so far. So see you at the finish line again. So yeah, as we come around the last corner, you can tell that this lap will be way better than the 133.0 we had before, and we are moving up into P5 at this very moment in time. And I can tell you, I stayed in P5, which is beautiful, and I'm really happy about that. So now I'm gonna show Mr. Ricardo how you do it to leave somebody through and don't destroy his lap. But yeah, see you on the race then. And now, starting the race, we are starting in... Wait a second, P10? Okay, so here's the thing. I was checking everything. I have no freaking idea why on earth we are starting on P10. So thank you F1 2017 for not telling me why on earth I am in P10. I checked so many things. I just aborted the race and went back to the main menu. Yeah, so there was no penalty or something. I didn't do anything bad. I didn't block anybody. I didn't speed in the pits. I have no penalty for changing my engine or something like that, because it's just my second one and I have no idea what's going on here. But anyways, I couldn't do much about it. It was just settled. So we are starting in P10 and let's see if we can improve, because I think we have a pretty decent pace, and yeah, let's see what the race brings. So yeah, here you can see the 5 red lights going on, and then do we have a good getaway? Yes, we have a pretty decent start. I should say that's the best one ahead, but the ones behind us had an even better start. So you can see all the red arrows going to the left and right. Everybody is just jumping us, but I thought, okay, let's late brake a little bit, and then going into turn 1, I could make it stick quite nicely. Verstappen going really slow, so I took the inner part, and let's move on then to Paris. Now what's gonna happen over here? And we've been hit again, like in last race, like in the first race. And here's the replay, and I have no words to describe how pissed I was at this very moment in time. It's just, we had a decent start, but those behind us had a even better start, as I said. But somehow we managed to find a little space where we could go into, and we did so. And then moving on, you can see there's much space. I go to the inner side of it, and Verstappen, he just, I just have no idea why the hell he stayed there. Like, there was no reason for staying there. He was behind us. We had a car length in front of him, but no, he stayed there. So I went on with a huge amount of, yeah, anger in my under my belt, I should say. And you can see here late braking into this turn, going to the tight left-hander, out braking Mr. Alonso on the inside. It was really aggressive. That said, those moves over here were really fair in a way. As you can see in the replay, we had so much more speed through these corners. Going into here one, have a huge lockup, but you know, I wasn't squeezing anybody, I wasn't going into anybody, so that was a fairly good move, I guess. And it was also a fairly good one on Mr. Alonso over here, breaking into this one, going really tight, so leaving him the space on the outer line. I thought he could jump us on the straight, but he couldn't. Coming to the final corner of the track, we are also jumping Mr. Magnussen, our teammate, pushing him really wide, but this was not really necessary, I should say, but I just did it. Anyways, we are already on to P16 again, but I can't tell you how pissed I was. I have to say this, because this will, yeah, play a huge role. As you can see, also locking up into turn 1. I wanted to avoid the crash, but then I thought, okay, Van Dorn and Hulkenberg are giving me a lot of space. So in the replay you can see, yeah, it was, you know, it was a really hard move on Magnussen, but he left us the space as well, so that was really nice. Then on the straights, unfortunately, I don't have that much speed on the straights, but I mean, come on, we've got a Honda in front of us, so I knew at the end of the straight I will be in his tail. So yeah, then moving into the first tight hairpin corner, we made the move stick on Van Dorn, and I don't know who it was. Was it Palmer? I guess it was Palmer. Then here Hulkenberg, Kwiat and Massa, and I tried the same move, but I just hit Massa. And honestly, I have no idea why on earth I didn't get a penalty for that. So let's just take the 5 position penalty from qualifying for this one as an excuse for this one, because this was a really unfair move over here. I thought Massa would, you know, go a little bit quicker into the turn so I can use the space as I did one lap earlier, but yeah, there was no space and I just rammed into Massa, and you can see he was really struggling to hold Kwiat behind him. But anyways, we made the move stick and I was moving up into P6 on lap 6 already, trying to cover from Stroll. And yeah, it was not a really bad thing, and hard to take him behind, keep him behind us. And then moving on, you can see in front of us battling Verstappen and Sainz. So we are back at Verstappen, the one who pushed us out of the a good position we started in, and yeah, somehow they held the fight, and I just used the situation and really late braked into my least favorite corner of the track, but I made the move stick, and up then to the back of Sainz I went in P5, and we are back in our, you know, usual starting position, I should say. And it seems like if I crashed into the back of Sainz, but I didn't. I just outbraked Verstappen. He then lost a place to Stroll, and what should I say, I'm really happy he lost the position to Stroll, because I was really pissed on Mr. Verstappen for just pushing me wide and pushing me out of the race in effect. Then you can see after the pit stop we managed to keep our position behind Sainz, but as you can see on the minimap, no, it's not the minimap, on the position on the left hand side, you can see that we have Verstappen on our back with the super soft tires, so he has an inverse strategy, and this will be a huge problem for us on a later stage of this race. But first of all, being on P8 behind Sainz, we had a way better speed and way better pace, so making a really classic move to just before the last corner of the track. He wanted to, you know, close the door a little bit, but then we made the move stick fairly easy, braking maybe even a little bit too early on into this turn over here, but that was a really easy move. My setup this time was a little bit more on straight line speed, so I didn't have that many problems to keep those peeps then behind me again. But as you can see, it was a really classic move, going up into the slipstream, moving out and outbraking him into the corner. I had, you know, I just had the track position and it was easy to hold on. But yeah, now we are going to Mr. Verstappen episode number 2. Coming around the last corner in lap 10, you can see Mr. Verstappen is right up to my back. And yeah, now he went to the left and I went then to the middle of the path. And you can see somehow he managed to squeeze us again into the wall. And what on earth? What did he do? And then on the left side, he's pushing us again. And yeah, my little driving companion over here is just waving his hands, and I can fairly understand why this was the case. So he jumped us then and pushing us into the wall, pushing us on the left hand side, really being really aggressive. And I thought, okay, you know what? Okay, if you are aggressive, I'm aggressive too. And I just completely dive bombed into his left hand side, and in the replay we unfortunately can't see that much, but then again you can see he was on my, I don't know what exactly happened. I couldn't see that much because the camera angles were really bad, and I just, you know, because I always want to provide you the whole race as well, I just can't flip through the different camera angles, so I had to take this one. But yeah, I just don't know what happens there. He offered me the left hand side, so I moved to the inside, and he changed the track again, and you know, moving is just one time allowed. So he's going to the left, I was going to the right, trying to cover the inside, and he just came there and pushed me into the wall. Okay, next up, lap 13. I just somehow managed to keep all these people behind me with my broken front wing, but then you can see on lap number 13 I couldn't hold it. My front wing was even, you know, being destroyed a little bit more because of moving so bad. But I thought, okay, I'm not ending the fight here. I was trying to be more and more aggressive and making the move again on him. And I got it back, and so I thought, okay, one more lap to hold it could be good. But then it happened what had to be happen. I just, you know, braked way too late into this tight left-hander, needed to let pass Hülkenberg, Verstappen, and Sainz will also jump us on a later stage, I believe. I'm not too sure. But yeah, as you can see, I decided to stay out with the broken front wing. That means we have way less grip on the front hand side of the car, and as you can see, yeah, Stroll also jumped us, then Mr. Sainz on the left hand side, and yeah, what should I do? I just pushed him out. I just pushed him wide. Also very unfair move, but I was, at this point in time, I was just completely pissed off of this game, of this race, of everything. So moving up to lap number 14, you can see we are in P10, and we have got Mr. Sainz behind us, and I just wanted to bring home this very last point. You know, before this race, I would say, okay, 1 point is really good. But looking at my pace, looking at this race, I should say we could have well finished on 5th position. Fairly easy, I believe. We did have the pace, and with a little bit of luck and problems of the, top 4 drivers, we could have even been further ahead of them. And yeah, coming around the final corners, you can see, yeah, I just had a train behind me, holding up all these guys. I believe it's Sainz, behind him is Magnussen and Kvyat as well, and there was somebody else coming the way as well. But yeah, I feel just really bad about this race. So many aggressive, not well done moves, but I was just so pissed. And yeah, honestly, if I think back now to this race, I should say maybe it would have been better to let Verstappen pass. He had the better tires, he had the better car, you know, and just wait for the end of the race when his tires are going to be run out of pace and just overtake him. And you know, I could have just easily used him as a little train in front of me to stay at his back and go further, use his slipstream and this kind of stuff. But I just decided to cover him. I mean, I don't even believe that was a bad move. I think I just covered the inside. Yeah, and he just decided to move from the left to the right to the left. I don't know what he did. I'm just really fucked up with it, I have to say. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I thought that this was really exciting. A lot of work cutting it this time. As always, you get the race and you got the full race as well, which will be uploaded, I think, an hour or two later than this episode. And yeah, see you then in the next one. And don't forget to leave me a comment down below the comment section, because I do want to know your feedback. What do you think of this race? What do you think of my moves, which were definitely not too clean? But anyways, what do you think? So let me know, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.